So welcome to my live, the first of my live series, the Stoic Rider Live. This is going to be a 12-part series where we just explore some of the themes that are in the book, my book, The Stoic Rider. Thank you if you've already bought that, and I'm very grateful to you, and I hope you're enjoying it, if you are. This is going to be just a little chat about chapter 5, which is about stillness in motion. And what I really want to discuss is just how I find stillness in motion. Now, stillness isn't really the absence of movement. It's more about being present in movement. I find that when I am going very fast, that stillness kind of is much more apparent. Hi Mrs. G, hi Daniel. I was just talking about stillness in motion and how stillness isn't the absence of movement. It's about being very aware at the present moment. So when I've been racing, so in particular Pendine or Bonneville or even Elvington, I would go very, very fast. Now, I noticed something happened when I went fast. And it dawned on me that everything became very, very still, and my awareness kind of opened up massively. And I was aware of every single second of every one of those races in a way that time expanded as well. So for me, that is where I get my stillness. I'm sure I have meditated in the past and I've done other things, but for me, those were purely transcendent. I've had that feeling perhaps in mountains when you get that bit of flow going. I'm sure if you're riders yourself, you understand what I mean. Every rider gets it. You can't make flow happen. It just happens when it happens. And it is about being conscious and aware of every single second, and nothing else, the future, the past, nothing impinges on that moment, and it is absolutely bliss, absolutely bliss. So stillness isn't about stopping, it's about presence, and you get ultimate presence, and I find that riding a bike. So for me, Bonneville, again, staring down 5 miles of white salt. Now, I could have been absolutely terrified, but I wasn't. I got very, very calm. And then when I started moving fast, everything suddenly came into sharp focus. So, hi, thanks for joining me. Just talking about stillness in motion, chapter 5 from my book. Send a little heart if you can hear me, because last time I tried a live, the audio didn't work at all, and it was rather embarrassing, but hopefully you're hearing it now. Good to meet you guys. Thank you very much for joining. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just chat a little bit about stillness and how I find that going fast, but also I'm going to read a little bit. Thank you. I'm going to read a little bit from the book, and you can read along with me. But this is chapter 5, Stillness in Motion, and I guess I wrote this because I wanted to kind of explain that feeling that I get when I'm in that state of flow on a bike. But it doesn't necessarily have to be riding a bike. And, it can be, some people have reported stillness in doing other things, like even just gardening and things like that, or walking. I mean, anyone want to tell me about their experiences of how they've found stillness in motion? I've heard, yeah, washing up can be as a form of stillness in motion. It's anything that takes your presence. You take presence in the exact moment, and that your senses are all aligned. Everything is just coming into focus. Your touch, your sight, your hearing in focus. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from the book, from chapter 5, Stillness in Motion. Now this describes a period that I experienced flow, and it was on the Austria's Grossglockner. Okay, here we go. On roads like Austria's Grossglockner, where the corners demand your full respect. There's no room for overthinking. You either pay attention or you end up at the bottom of a mountain debating metaphysics with a red deer. I remember that road, trees casting gold through morning light, corners coiling like questions, and suddenly, without effort or announcement, I wasn't riding the bike. I was the bike. No separation, no internal monologue, just movement, just being. The climb began gently. Pine gave way to scrub, then to bare rock. Wind whipped and silvered with frost. The air thinned, the temperature dropped. My breath fogged inside my helmet. Every sense dialed in, the buzz of the engine through my boots, the faint tang of petrol and alpine ice, the steady rhythm of breath and throttle. Above the tree line, the world opened, vast and stark, silent. No birdsong, no fences, just switchbacks drawn by the universe with a ruler and a sense of humour. Time stopped stretching forward or back. It pooled around me, cool and still. There was no destination, just this, just now. And then another now, and another. Flow is a state where skill meets challenge in perfect balance, where action becomes instinct, and where, interestingly, happiness tends to sneak in. Not because you're aiming for it, but because you forgot to. So that sort of brought that moment into sharp focus for me, and that awareness that stillness, it doesn't mean stopping. Stillness can be cultivated inside us, and in fact, it's essential, because in these fast-paced life where we have so much distractions from the minute we open our eyes to the minute we go to bed. We've got buzzes and bing pings and clicks and phones ringing and laptops and people. It's best to try and cultivate a sense of stillness without having to go and sit in a quiet room somewhere. And that there are ways to do that. There's ways that you can do that. We can't all go off and just ride a bike all day, which would be rather nice, but we can't. So being aware of your environment, especially if you're outside, being aware of the feeling of the wind on your face and the sun in your eyes and sun in your hair, being aware of how your feet perhaps hit the floor. So I wrote a bit about this Buddhist monk, actually, this forest monk called Bjorn Lindblad, who wrote a fantastic book called, I think I May Be Wrong. And he spent many, many years meditating, and his preferred meditation method was walking. And he found that that was where he achieved his most of his stillness. And the way to do that is to feel, as you move through, feel the earth on your feet. Feel and hear everything. Just let the sounds go through you and the sensations go through you. Let the world pass through you and undisturbed you. Do not let it disturb you. And that is one way. Another way is to become acutely aware of your breathing, which is obviously movement. Your breath's moving like a metronome can get you into that state. And I find I do that on the bike as well. So the more I do that on the bike, the more in tune I am with it. Sort of your breath in. I used to do when you had a series of curves and straights that were in a fairly evenly spaced, you could breathe in on the curves and out on the straights and get into that flow state. It's very hard to do, to get into a flow state, but aligning your breathing is much a key to it, Anybody else had this experience? Yeah, fantastic. Yep, so I agree with you. I think that any kind of movement, even mountaineering, can be a way to do this as well. Anything you could do, to climb a mountain, to feel present in your hands, to feel the earth underneath you is just, it's sensational. So Okay, so that's really what I wanted to say. If there's any other questions, then yeah, just let me know, and you can always message me. My book, Stoic Rider, is out now, and I think there should be a link to it in the shop somewhere. And yeah, that's brilliant. I'm glad you got that. Okay, so please join me again next week for, I think we'll be looking at a chapter 2, I believe I was looking at. And we'll talk again. I'll have a little bit of a reading just like now, and you can tell me if there's any questions that you have on the book or on that topic in particular. But thank you very much indeed. Thanks for coming along. And I do hope if you haven't bought the book, you're going to enjoy it when you do read it. Okay. Okay then. Thanks, guys.